Gary C. Johnson is a personal injury attorney practicing in Pikeville, Hazard, and Central Kentucky. You can reach him at 1-800-337-4002. Life is a journey, and everyone deserves all the happiness that this life has to offer. That's why attorney Gary C. Johnson created a weekly radio program almost 20 years ago to look at ways that we can improve our relationships, our health, and most important, our frame of mind. You know, by having the right information, our choices can be easier, and so can our happiness. Welcome to this edition of Simply Life with Gary C. Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply Life. I'm Keith Casebolt and the creator of this radio program, my dear friend, Gary C. Johnson.
Isn't it wonderful to be here?
Gary, it's fantastic to be here.
Another week. We've made it. Hot dog.
I no longer take it for granted, my friend. It is absolutely fantastic to be here.
I was talking last week about you should, if you have grudges, you should turn loose of them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, one fella called me up and he said, Gary, he said, you are talking about being happy. And he said, I'll tell you right now, I'm carrying a grudge and it makes me very happy.
Well, I don't know. What do you say to that?
So I said to him, continue to carry that grudge if it's making you happy.
Keep it up. So he was happy with the grudge.
He loved that grudge, he said. So I said, there are exceptions to every rule.
There is,
right?
There is indeed.
Overall, it's best to let the grudges go, unless it's bringing you immense happiness. If it's
You know, I hadn't thought about that.
I didn't either.
Well, no, I was thinking like you. If you're carrying a grudge, it has to be cumbersome and it's giving you problems. But evidently, this guy enjoyed it.
Never dreamed it would make you happy.
Okay, so from now on, we'll have an option that if you are happy carrying a grudge, so be it. Continue to carry the grudge.
Otherwise, turn it loose and get rid of it. The New Year's resolution naturally was to be happy this year, right?
To try our best to find more happiness,
and
yes.
We had the show where we talked about The Art of Happiness, the book.
Mm-hmm.
This guy by Howard Cutler, M.D., psychiatrist, and the Dalai Lama. And there were some things I didn't get to on the show that I wanted to read. Because there's some good stuff in this book.
Well, we all need it, too. That's the main thing.
Nobody more so than me, my friend. So I'm going to read you a little bit more about what he says about happiness in this book.
Okay.
Every day we are faced with numerous decisions and choices. And try as we may, we often don't choose a thing that we know is good for us. Part of this is related to the fact that the right choice is often the difficult one, the one that involves some sacrifice of our pleasure. So therefore, in every century, men and women have struggled with trying to define the proper role that pleasure should play in our lives. A legion of philosophers, theologians, and psychologists, all exploring our relationship with pleasure. None of us really need the great dead Greek philosophers, 19th century psychoanalysts, and 20th century scientists to help us to understand pleasure.
True.
We know it when we feel it. We know in the touch or smile of a loved one, in the luxury of a hot bath on a cold, rainy afternoon, in the beauty of a sunset. But many of us know pleasure in the frenetic rapidity of a cocaine rush, the ecstasy of a heroin high, the revelry of an alcohol buzz, the bliss of unrestrained sexual excess, the exhilaration of a winning streak in Vegas. These are also very real pleasures, pleasures that many in our society must come to terms with. Now, what's he mean by that? Although there are no easy solutions to avoiding these destructive pleasures, fortunately we have a place to begin. The simple reminder that what we are seeking in life is happiness. As the Dalai Lama points out, that is an unmistakable fact. If we approach our choices in life, keeping that in mind, it is easier to give up the things that are ultimately harmful to us, even if those things bring us momentary pleasure. The reason why it is usually so difficult to just say no, as found in the word no, that approach is associated with a sense of rejecting something, of giving something up, of denying ourselves. But there is a better approach, framing any decision we face by asking ourselves, in the long run, will it bring me happiness? That simple question can be a powerful tool in helping us skillfully conduct all areas of our life, not just in the decision whether to indulge in drugs or that third-party piece of banana cream pie. It puts a new slant on things. Approaching our daily decisions and choices with this question in mind shift the focus from what we are denying ourselves to what we are seeking, ultimate happiness. A kind of happiness as defined that is stable and persistent. A state of happiness that remains despite life's up and downs and normal fluctuations of mood, as part of the very matrix of our being. With this perspective, it is easier to make the right decision because we are acting to give ourselves something, not denying or withholding something from ourselves. An attitude of moving toward rather than moving away from, an attitude of embracing rather than injecting it. This underlying sense of moving toward happiness can have a very profound effect. It makes us more receptive, more open to the joy of living.
So, right off the bat, the major thing is there is a big difference between pleasure and happiness.
Yes.
So we get confused in thinking some of the activities or things that we do that bring us momentarily pleasure is making us happy. That's not true. It's pleasure. It's not happiness.
And it can be destructive. And so what he's saying do is he said, when you think you're going to go with the destructive pleasure, say to yourself, will it bring me happiness? In the long run, will I be happier because I did this? And will I be happier if I don't do it? And he says, so what you're giving yourself is an option to say, I'm going toward happiness rather than away from it. So you're not saying no to yourself.
You're not denying yourself.
You're making a different choice.
So back to that banana cream cake third dish that you're going to take. You're sitting there saying, this would bring me pleasure. It's not going to bring me happiness because it's not going to do my diet well. It's not going to do my body well. I'm not going to be in the physical shape I want to be.
And when I get on the scales, I'll hate myself.
Yeah, when I see that I'm up 2 pounds instead of down 2 pounds.
And so you say to yourself, will I be happy when I get on the scale tonight if I don't eat this pie?
Wow, what an interesting take that you can turn down pleasure, not by denying yourself, but by seeking true happiness over the pleasure.
Right.
It's like going a step above, isn't it?
Right. Thinking outside the box. You're not saying no to the pie. You're saying, yes, I want to be happy.
Which is completely opposite of what we do.
Yep.
We're sitting here saying, why can't I do these things? They bring me pleasure. They make me happy. The truth is, they don't make you happy. They bring you pleasure.
And they're destructive in the long run.
And if you look at the end result, as you've always told us to do, go to the end result, that's where you're going to find what's going to make you happy.
It's a pretty interesting concept. I thought that's why I wanted to share it with my friends.
It's pretty doggone deep.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do a little bit of thinking to that because now you're going over all the things. You said the winning streak in Vegas. Yes, that would give any of us pleasure. What happens when the winning streak ends and you lose all your money?
And that's what happens.
Of course it does. we all know that.
The thing about it is, if you think about the choices you make, how many times have I said on this program, happiness is a choice?
Plenty. And you know what? I've come into people that all the time tell me, please tell Gary, I would make those choices if it weren't for the surroundings or the people around me. I'm not able to make those choices because of surroundings. And I'm telling them that Gary says you can. You can do it. You can still make that choice no matter what the surroundings are.
If you want to be happy.
If you want to be happy.
Well, I'm going to read you a little bit about training the mind for happiness from this same book.
This guy's good.
Okay. In identifying one's mental state as the prime factor in achieving happiness, of course, that doesn't deny that our basic physical needs for food, clothing, and shelter must be met. But once these basic needs are met, the message is clear. We don't need more money. We don't need greater success or fame. We don't need the perfect body or even the perfect mate. Right now, at this moment, we have a mind which has all the basic equipment we need to achieve complete happiness.
Now, let me ask you, when you started out the program, you talked about the gentleman who said, Gary, I'm carrying a grudge around, and it makes me happy to carry the grudge. Are there some of us who actually enjoy not being happy?
It can become a way of life. Some people probably enjoy being miserable because they've been that way so long, they don't know anything different.
It's a comfort zone. They don't get let down. They don't get disappointed because they don't expect anything good to happen.
Right, because it's all going to be bad anyhow.
It's all going to be bad anyway, so I'll just take the negative attitude, and that way I know I'm always going to be okay.
So I'm trying to talk my friends into not doing that. Okay?
It is a choice.
So I'm going to read you a little bit more about what he says about this. So the first step in seeking happiness is learning. We first have to learn how negative emotions and behaviors are harmful to us and how positive emotions are helpful. And we must realize how these negative emotions are not only very bad and harmful to one's personality and personal, but harmful to society and the future of the whole world as well. That kind of realization enhances our determination to face and overcome them. And then there's the realization of the benefits, aspects of the positive emotions and behaviors. Once we realize that, we become determined to cherish, develop, and increase those positive emotions no matter how difficult that is. There is a kind of spontaneous willingness from within. So through this process of learning, of analyzing which thoughts and emotions are beneficial and which are harmful, we gradually develop a firm determination to change feeling. Now the secret to my own happiness, my own good nature, is within my own hands. I must not miss the opportunity.
So much like the foods that we put into our body that we know are better for us, the author here is saying the same thing applies to the thoughts that we have in our head on a daily basis. That we've got to continually feed ourselves with good thoughts and happy thoughts in order to be happy and block the others. You
have to keep the chatterbox in check.
So the rule of principle works the same physically as it does mentally. You put in less calories, you're going to lose weight. You put in less negativity in thoughts, you're going to be happy. It's the same principle, right?
That's right. He goes on and says a little more about this. This is also the case with mental states and experiences. If you desire happiness, you should seek the causes that give rise to it. And if you don't desire suffering, then you should do is to ensure that the causes and conditions that would give rise to it no longer arise. An appreciation of this causal principle is very important. Our next task, therefore, is to examine the variety of mental states that we experience. We need to clearly identify different mental states and make a distinction, classifying them according to whether or not they lead to happiness. Period.
Okay, time and time again, I've talked about you coming in and doing the program, and I'm like, Gary, I was having a bad day. You come in, you start talking about positive things. We do the radio show, and you leave, and it's like I'm on cloud nine. The world is an opportunity. Everything is good. Is this chapter saying what we're doing is affecting everybody around us, everybody that we come in contact with?
And how you deal with them. Let me read you a little more about what he says. Now, for instance, hatred, jealousy, anger, and so on are harmful. We consider them negative states of mind because they destroy our mental happiness. Once you harbor feelings of hatred or ill feelings towards someone, once you yourself are filled by hatred or negative emotions, then other people appear to you as also hostile. So as a result, there is more fear, greater inhibition and hesitation, and a sense of insecurity. These things develop, and also loneliness in the midst of a world perceived as hostile. All these negative feelings develop because of hatred. On the other hand, mental states such as kindness and compassion are definitively very positive, and they are useful for your state of mind.
So we've got two thoughts out there right now with friends that could be listening to this program. People could be saying, it's a horrible world. There's nothing but sorrow and misery out there. Everything is bad. Or we've got another friend out there that's saying, it's a beautiful world. There's good people in this world. There's great things going on every day. And both of them are right.
This country is in wonderful shape. You can go to the store and buy food. You can go to the gas station and buy gas. You can buy a lottery ticket.
Hey, yeah, who knows?
You could have hope of winning a lottery.
By Thursday, you could be a multimillionaire.
You go out here on the highway and there's cars buzzing around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Things are doing wonderful.
You can own property. You can buy a home.
That's right.
You can get an education.
If you choose.
If you choose to, yeah.
But yet I have people say the country's gone this way, it's going this way. And it's just, they're just wrong. This is America. Our young people will see to it doesn't happen. They're smart enough to do it. So those of you that have real negative feelings about this country, I beg you, don't feel that way. You're wrong. You should not. It's just hurting you to feel that way. Time will tell what's going to happen. Don't go ahead and be mad about it now. It's too early.
There's a reason that people around the world would love to come to this country.
Why they line up by thousands to get in this country.
Yeah, they can, like the gentleman who drove me around that time and told me about coming to America and what it meant to him and his family. He certainly didn't take it for granted.
I want to read you just a little bit more from the book, and then that's all I'm going to read from it, okay?
All right.
I would regard a compassionate, warm, kind-hearted person as healthy. If you maintain a feeling of compassion, loving kindness, then somehow automatically it opens your inner door. Through that, you can communicate much more easily with other people. And that feeling of warmth creates a kind of openness. You'll find that all human beings are just like you, and you'll be able to relate to them easily. That gives you a spirit of friendship. Then there's less need to hide things, and as a result, feelings of fear, self-doubt, insecurity are automatically dispelled. Also, it creates a feeling of trust from other people. That's it.
It's a change of life, isn't it?
It's a change of how you look at things. It's just, it's all in your attitude.
And then when you do that, ultimately, you change. You know, you talked about it at the beginning of the year. Who wouldn't want more friends? What you just read us from this book will attract friends like honey attracting bees, if you can do those things.
Keith, how many times have you heard me say that vision but a visual of what you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Or what you want to be like or whatever. And put it right in the center of your forehead and plant it there. And that's what you will become.
If you truly believe it.
And you will. You do. You have to. You will become it slowly and gradually over a period of time. You will grow. Your subconscious will make you grow. As long as you have that vision of where you want to go and what you want to be.
You know, I had a guy one time tell me, he said, any time that I went for a job interview or I went to do something, I would go buy me a new shirt or I'd get me a new suit. And he said, for some odd reason, when I would put that on, I felt like I was worthy or I was important or I was good enough to get the sale or get the job.
It's called attitude. He planted a vision.
Yeah, it worked with him with just a new shirt or a new sport jacket, but you're saying it's all the attitude. The coat and shirt had nothing to do with it.
My friends, I want each of you to visualize yourselves as being happy, as a person that's happy. And watch what happens.
If you did it for 30 days, if you just did it for 30 days, you're telling me that people around you are going to change.
When you change, the reaction other people have towards you changes. And you may not be alone anymore.
People will want to be your friend. People will want
Who doesn't want to be around somebody that's happy and smiling?
That's the truth.
I mean, you love to see them coming.
Absolutely. You seek them out.
And you hate to see somebody coming that the minute they start talking to you, they're criticizing and critical and complaining. You want to crawl away and get away from me, get away from me.
The sky is falling.
So think about it, folks. When the next time you're getting ready to criticize, condemn, and complain and vent it all out, the person around you is going to try their best to get away from you.
And Gary, this works like kryptonite to Superman. I mean, if you're positive and you're happy and someone is coming around you who's not and they're negative, when you continue to be happy, they will eventually give up and stop talking negativity to you because you're not joining in.
That's right. You're not playing the game.
Yeah, misery loves company and you're no longer company.
It takes two to be miserable.
Yeah, you're not being the company, so it's falling on deaf ears to them.
Again, folks, attitude. How you choose to perceive what's going on around you. How you choose to perceive people in your life. Understanding. People are human, and we're all just human. No more, no less.
Gary, does it all start with that self-check that we've got to ask ourselves, am I the one that is bringing the negativity? Am I the one when I'm coming into a room, people are trying to scatter and get away from me? We've got to do a self-check, and if that's the case, then we have to start with ourselves.
And once you do that, and you change, and you plant your vision of yourself being happy, you'll find that the negativity and the criticism will not be there if you're happy. Happy people don't have negativity and criticism and bitterness in their lives. Period.
If you're happy, I know your mental health's going to improve, but will your physical health improve also?
No question. All the stress, you get the stress out of your life, all those pseudo heart attacks you're having and things like that, you won't have them.
Listen, anybody that's been to a doctor, what's the first question they ask you?
Any stress?
Any stress going on in your life? I mean, if your blood pressure's up, have you been under stress? Cholesterol high, have you been under stress?
Misery is no fun, and it can also kill you.
Migraines, have you been under a lot of stress? Chest pains?
How do you know all that, Keith?
Well, Let's see. One time I had all those monitors hooked up to my chest because I thought I was having a heart attack, and the doctor said, "So what's been going on in your life?" And after I told him, he said, "You can get up and go home anytime you want. You're not having a heart attack. You've just been under a little bit of stress. It will physically make you ill."
Because you have a heart attack. A real one.
Yes.
So, my friends, remember the New Year's resolution this year. Each and every one of us is going to strive to be happy. We're going to strive to be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to strive to be the people that everybody loves to see coming rather than leaving. Right?
You got that? Hey, when we get past this pandemic, if you see Gary and I at a table, you want to be at our table, because we not only want to live, we want to be happy every moment that we've got.
But we're not going to eat the extra pie.
No, even though it would bring us pleasure. It would bring us immense pleasure, but it wouldn't bring us happiness.
But we're going to visualize the happiness of getting on the scale that evening and see where we didn't gain that weight.
My friend, I tell you, you make things so fun. You know, I've had people ask me, here's Gary C. Johnson, personal injury attorney. He owns the record for the largest verdict. He does all this, but he's on the radio talking about happiness. And I said, yeah, you got to understand. He's trying to give back some lessons that he's learned. And the greatest thing that he could do is to have one of you step up and say, because of the things that you have said on your program, I'm now happier today than I was yesterday.
Then we will have made a difference in life if that happens.
Yes, absolutely. You can catch Gary's television show Tuesday nights on WYMT, your CBS affiliate, at 7 p.m. A late-night replay is in Central Kentucky on WKYT, your CBS affiliate. And if you get up early to start your week, 6:30 a.m. on your Fox affiliate, and we'll start your weekend Friday morning at 6:30 a.m. also. If you need to get in touch with Gary, Gary C. Johnson, Gary at GaryCJohnson.com. My friend, this was a good program.
Happy, happy, happy. Smiley faces.
Indeed. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week at this very same time.
Thanks for listening to Simply Life with attorney Gary C. Johnson. If you'd like to reach the Gary C. Johnson Law Firm, you can call 1-800-337-4002. Until next week, may you be safe, healthy, and happy. And most of all, remember that you're unique and a gift from God. If you'd like to receive a podcast of this week's show or any future show, go to GaryCJohnson.com and sign up today. Thanks for listening to Simply Life.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. Lawyers are spending millions of dollars asking you to give them a call. What could I say to you that would make you give us a call? How about the fact I invented the concept of judo law? How about the fact that using judo law, my team set the record for the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky? No other law firm has even come close. How's that for a reason to give us the call?
800-337-4002.